Hello and welcome to another JMP video. I'm your host JonNario, and this is a pretty unexpected video. I'm going to be talking about the Chloromancer regrowth being on the live server on PC. So I actually did not expect this to come out so soon, considering that we recently still got an update on the PTS last week actually on this very same character. So I thought, oh yeah, so we're just going to be still retweaking the character, still looking at the character, still looking for feedback. So I'm expecting this to come out within a month. Nope, actually this came out 1 week later after that update. It came out yesterday as of the time I'm recording this. I'm recording this on the 28th. It came out on the 27th. So I'm just going to be talking about pretty much the Chloromancer and just all the abilities. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do all of the testing because I am no longer on the PTS. PTS is closed, obviously. And no longer able to just show you every single ability because I do have a level 4 Chloromancer as a trial. So I might just be able, once I start talking about the ultimate ability, so probably I might just be switching some footage into Xbox footage or me just using pre-patch Chloromancer. So I hope you guys still don't mind about that one. So I will be talking about the Chloromancer in general. I see that guy just struggling again. I will be talking about the Chloromancer at least with the first couple of abilities, and then just talking about the description and also just reading out on the patch notes. So I'm not able also to do like damage testing because again I'm level 4. Low level character for some reason have really weird multipliers, especially when it comes to doing damage with basic attack or certain abilities. Like for example, Spears on Revenant does like 6 times damage multiplier. Basic attack on like Shadowhunter does like 4.8 as a new player. Basic attack on this character does like 3 point something. And normally they are much lower than what I just mentioned right there. Basic attack Shadowhunter is 2.5. Spears is also 2.5, and this one is 1 on Chloromancer. So I will be just clearly just talking about all of the ability, just reading out the description for all of you. And then just talking about all of the properties and all of the abilities. So let's get started. First of all, let's start talking about the first ability that you see right here. This is the passive ability called Mini Bloom. So the Mini Bloom is going to be a new entirely passive ability. It's going to replace pretty much Blooming Pollinator as your explosion AoE type ability, and it's now tied to your basic attack. It reads as follows: basic attack, have a chance to spawn plants nearby enemy, and they will explode into a burst of pollen that will heal allies and damage enemies. Using a basic attack on the Mini Bloom makes them explode instantly. The chances of spawning is that 25% chance. It used to be 40, then it got down to 30, now it's 25. Once it spawns, it will just stay there, so I'm just going to showcase it real quick. So let me see if I can just spawn it real quick. So just shooting an enemy with a basic attack have around a 25% chance of spawning, so you can see right over there, and it's going to spawn that plant. Shooting them, it will not detonate them immediately. You need to shoot them twice, and once it detonates, it does 5 times damage multiplier. According to the patch note that is going to be on the live server, so it was 10. Then it got reduced to 8.5, which in my opinion 8.5 was the perfect one, and it got reduced down to 5. So I guess it's whatever, it is what it is. So yeah, and it will also heal all players on a 5 block radius, and it has a limit of 4 plants at the same time and no cooldown on any other plants. Everything is just chances. So that's pretty much going to be how Mini Bloom works. The second ability is going to be Green Gatling. This was the old class gem ability on the Chloromancer, so the class gem is a new class gem on this character. Unfortunately, again, I'm not able to showcase the new class gem, so I'm just going to throw down Green Gatling. So Green Gatling is going to be this ability right here. Green Gatling is just going to be that ability is so good. Anyway, so Green Gatling is going to be that ability that you saw right there. You press the mouse 2 button or the first ability, you're going to spawn a green cactus. Just shooting them, it will just make them grow faster. Once it stays there, and it will target one enemy. After it targets one enemy, it will shoot a barrage of 10 shots. Each and every single shot will do 2 lines of damage, dealing at a total of 1.6 times damage multiplier per line. So that is 10 shots, 2 lines of damage per shot, 20 lines of damage, 1.6 times damage times 20, that's 32. So it will do a burst of 32 times damage multiplier. You can have a maximum of up to 3 plants at once. It has a 2-second cooldown as long as you have energy, so you can throw a maximum of up to 3 plants. So if you try to throw down your 4th, the first one will disappear. So that's going to be how it does work out. Now, just going over again How does it attack? Is just going to be like, once you throw it down, it will target one enemy. Like this, just take that enemy for example. It will shoot one burst and it will reset. That is one cycle, which is a very important thing to keep in note when we are going to be talking about the ultimate ability. That is Green Gatling 1.6, and it has a 2-second cooldown. It costs around 50 to 55 energy. So yeah, that's going to be Green Gatling. Now, let's start talking about Leafy Lasher. So Leafy Lasher, for some reason, it got some big nerfs, considering that the Leafy Lasher was the previous first ability on the Chloromancer. Now it got some really hefty nerfs. So first of all, it now does a lot less damage. So as you clearly can see, it does, I do believe it does only 1 times damage multiplier. So on the live server pre-patch, it used to do 2.15 times damage multiplier. Then on the first rework, on the first portion of the rework, it was 1.75. Then it got reduced to 1.15, and now it got reduced to 1. So now it does 1 times damage multiplier, and it attacks every 0.8 seconds. It used to attack every 0.4, and you can have a maximum of 2 plants at once. This is a big nerf. I'm just going to read out so you can read the description right here. This is a really big nerf, because let me just do a comparison between this one and the pre-patch version. Damage. Pre-patch used to do 2.15. This version does 1. Attacks per second. Pre-patch used to do an attack every 0.4 seconds. Now it does attack every 0.8 seconds. Range, so the post-patch has a little bit more range, but the range is just going to be from 3.5 blocks in distance to 5 blocks in radius. And then lastly, it's just going to be damage stacking. The pre-patch did not stack with other plants. Now it does stack with other plants. However, the limit pre-patch was 4 plants, now it's 2 plants. And the cooldown used to be 0.2 seconds, so pretty much instantaneously. And now the cooldown is, for some reason, 10 seconds. This is a huge nerf from pre-patch. I don't know why they nerfed this, like this ability. I never thought that this was the problem with this character. When it came to just the overpowered nature, it wasn't necessarily because of Leafy Lasher. And for some reason, it got nerfed. Like, what? So yeah, it got nerfed. And before I just get like the comments of people just saying, but it does perma-stun enemy, it just perma-snare. And the answer is pretty much no. It does not perma-snare. It only reduces the movement speed by to 50%. So as you clearly can see, the enemy still can move even while getting hit. It only just applies to 100% snare only when you have the ultimate ability active. And even with the ultimate ability active, I don't still think that this is a really good ability. So that's a big oof. I don't know why they just nerfed this ability, in my opinion. The only one that needed a nerf was the ultimate ability Green Gatling, which I did explain again in the last Chloromancer video why it was so overpowered. That was the only thing that was overpowered about the class. The Leafy Lasher was completely fine. So yeah, that got nerfed. So that's a big rip. And then lastly, it's just going to be Empowered Growth. So Empowered Growth is just going to be the ultimate ability, the new ultimate ability removed from Soul Chaos. It's now going to be a buff to both Leafy Lasher and Green Gatling, just making them a bigger version of both of them. And then I will just cut back to the footage of me on Xbox, because obviously I cannot show you any of these because I no longer have the ultimate ability. So cutting back to footage on Xbox. So now let's start talking about the Chloromancer ultimate ability, Empowered Growth. So the Empowered Growth is just going to be a buff similar to Lunacy from the Lunar Lancer. It's just going to buff all of your abilities. So the Green Gatling is just going to dish out more damage and have more cycles, and the Leafy Lasher is just going to have more snare, and it also does more damage, but it doesn't tell you in the patch note, but it does more damage. The Green Gatling ultimate ability version is still pretty strong even after getting one nerf, because it got nerfed on the April 21st PTS update, but right now it is still mighty strong. It's still very strong. So when you activate your ultimate ability, the ultimate ability has a 12-second duration. It has a 40-second cooldown. During those 12 seconds, all of your Leafy Lashers and all of your Green Gatling have no energy cost. However, the Green Gatling has a larger cooldown, and Leafy Lasher just remains the same amount of cooldown, I do believe, or the cooldown is increased by 2 seconds. The Green Gatling gets a damage increase of damage per line from 1.6 to 3.8. It used to be 4.5, but it got reduced to 3.8 in terms of damage multiplier. And so it does 3.8 times damage multiplier per line, so that is 20 lines of damage. 3.8 times 20, that's 76. So we are expecting a 76 times damage multiplier per burst on the Green Gatling ultimate ability. Not only that, it also gains more cycle of shots. So like I just mentioned with the previously Green Gatling, it will stay there, shoot one, reset, that's one cycle. The ultimate ability, it has 3 or more cycles. So it can just shoot 3 or more. Sometimes it will shoot 4, but it is between 3 or 4. So it will stay there, shoot, reset, shoot, reset, shoot, reset, and sometimes it will shoot 1 more. But for the most part, the majority of the time, it should be like 3 times. It will shoot 3 times. You can have a maximum of 3 plants. It used to be 4 plants, the maximum, so it got reduced. And the cooldown is increased to 8 seconds from 2. This is still strong as hell, but it's much better than it used to be. Like 4 plants, 4.5 times damage per plant. It was kind of ridiculous. It was doing more than 3 times the DPS on a Gunslinger, and the Gunslinger just second strongest in terms of pure DPS in the entire game. Even with this nerfs, it still makes the character 2 times stronger than the Gunslinger in terms of pure DPS, but obviously a single target rather than Gunslinger being more AoE. So still, this is the strongest DPS character because of this ability alone. Yeah, it is still pretty strong. The Leafy Lasher just gains an extra 50% movement speed reduction snare, so a total of 100%. So enemies will not move whatsoever whenever they're getting hit by the Leafy Lasher. And aside from that, I do believe the damage is increased to 2.5 or 2.15. It doesn't, I don't remember, considering that it got the damage reduced on the live server update. But when it was 1.15 times damage multiplier, the damage was 2.5 on the ultimate ability version. So we can expect probably 2.35 to 2.25 or something like that, or maybe it kept at 2.5, but it does have slightly more damage. And aside from that, that is literally everything. The other thing that is going to be added is going to be a new class gem, and the new class gem, what it does, it empowers your ultimate ability, giving you another ability, so giving you like a field that heals all allies and plants around the field for 10% of their health every 1.5 seconds for 12 seconds, so for the duration of the ultimate ability, and it has an internal cooldown of 24 seconds. Yeah, that is pretty much the full extent of that ultimate ability in general, like all of that, like all of the abilities. And overall, I would probably say that the Chloromancer is fine where it is right now. It's no longer overpowered. It's still the strongest character in the entire game in terms of pure DPS, single target DPS, but it has a lot of weaknesses, which is very, very interesting. Do I think this is going to triumph over literally every single character? So should you main this character? You main it if you want, honestly, like it is entirely up to you. But if you're looking at character for overall purposes, like this is not going to be a good dungeon grinding, this is not going to be a good Del Floor clear, it's only going to be good for one enemy at a time. So not even bosses that spawn so many enemies like Vengeful Pinata God, it's just going to be for one enemy. So Leviathans or Delph bosses that doesn't spawn any minions. That's where you're going to see this character at its strongest, and it's going to dish out ridiculously high amounts of DPS. And yeah, that's going to be everything for me for today. It's still a very, very strong character, and it's still a very, very interesting character. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around as always. Leave a like if you want to help the channel grow. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And that is all for today. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting. And let me know what you think in the comment section down below of this character in general. What do you think? Where do you place this character as on your list as how good it is?